Virgo. Before we begin, I just want to take a moment to thank each and every one of you who's been showing up here, leaving comments, sharing your stories. I read them, I feel them, and I'm genuinely grateful for this community we're building together. To everyone who's new here, welcome. You're exactly where you need to be. Your presence matters now. Let's get into this reading. You need to hear this right now because something's happening around you that you might not be fully aware of. Something in the conversations people are having when you're not in the room. Something in the energy that's circulating about you. Something in the way people are trying to make sense of who you are and what you're doing. And they can't. They're trying. They're analyzing. They're discussing. They're attempting to figure you out, to put you in a box, to understand what you're about, but they can't. And that's creating something. Stay with me. Because what I'm picking up on is this energy of confusion around you. Not your confusion, theirs. People who thought they knew you. People who thought they had you figured out. People who assumed they understood your patterns, your choices, your next moves, and now they don't. Now there's this sense of, wait, what happened? Who is this person? Why aren't they acting the way they used to? And that question, that inability to categorize you, to predict you, to fit you into the narrative they created. It's unsettling for them. Have you been sensing this shift in how people are responding to you? Let me know in the comments if this resonates, because here's what's actually happening. You've changed, not in a performative way, not in a look at me, I'm different now kind of way, but in a real internal fundamental way. You've shifted how you see yourself, how you value yourself, how you move through the world. And that shift, it's visible. Maybe not in ways you can articulate, maybe not in obvious, dramatic gestures, but in your energy, in your choices, in what you're no longer willing to tolerate or explain or participate in. And people are noticing, they're noticing that you're not responding the way you used to, that you're not available the way you used to be, that you're not seeking approval, validation, or permission the way you once did. And it's confusing them because the version of you they knew, that person was more predictable. That person was easier to understand. That person fit into a role that made sense to them. But this version of you, this current version, you're not fitting anymore. You're not performing. You're not explaining. You're not making yourself smaller to make them more comfortable. And that's what they can't figure out. Does this feel true? Drop a comment if you're recognizing this pattern, because what I keep sensing is there are conversations happening, conversations about you, conversations trying to understand what changed, conversations attempting to make sense of your choices, your boundaries, your new energy. And some of these conversations, they're not coming from a genuine place. Some of them are coming from people who are uncomfortable with your growth because it reflects something back to them about themselves. Some of them are coming from people who preferred you when you were smaller, quieter, more manageable. Some of them are coming from people who are realizing they can't access you the way they used to, and they don't like it. And here's the thing about that. Their discomfort isn't your responsibility. Their confusion isn't your problem to solve. Their inability to figure you out, that's not something you need to explain or justify or make easier for them. You don't owe anyone a breakdown of your evolution. You don't owe anyone access to your internal process. You don't owe anyone an explanation for why you're no longer showing up the way they expect. You've changed because you needed to change. You've grown because staying the same wasn't serving you. You've evolved because that's what happens when you choose yourself, when you honor your truth, when you stop performing for an audience that never truly saw you anyway. And if that confuses people, let them be confused. If that creates conversations, let them talk. If they can't figure you out, good. Because maybe you were never meant to be figured out by people who weren't actually paying attention in the first place. Have you been feeling pressure to explain yourself lately, to make your changes make sense to people? Let me know in the comments, because what I'm picking up on is this energy of you being pulled in different directions. On one side, there's this awareness that people are watching, talking, trying to understand what's happening with you. On the other side, there's this deep knowing that you don't need their understanding to keep moving forward. And those two energies, they create tension. The tension between wanting to be seen clearly and knowing that some people will never see you clearly, no matter how much you explain. The tension between caring what people think and knowing that their opinions don't define your reality. The tension between wanting to defend yourself and recognizing that defense often just feeds the narrative you're trying to move away from. So what do you do with that tension? You let it exist. You don't try to resolve it. You don't try to make everyone understand. You don't try to control the narrative. You just keep moving. Keep choosing yourself. Keep honoring your boundaries. Keep showing up as this version of you that's more aligned, more authentic, more real. And let the conversations happen. Let people try to figure you out. Let them analyze, theorize, project whatever they need to project. Because here's what's actually true. The people who matter, the people who are genuinely aligned with you, the people who are capable of seeing you clearly, they're not confused. They're not talking about you in ways that diminish you. They're not trying to put you back in the box you outgrew. They're celebrating your growth. They're respecting your evolution. They're honoring the fact that you're becoming more of who you actually are. And those people, those are your people. The ones who can't figure you out, who are uncomfortable with your changes, who are talking about you like you're a puzzle they need to solve. They're not your people, and that's okay. Not everyone is supposed to understand your journey. Not everyone is supposed to get it. Not everyone is equipped to witness your transformation without making it about themselves. And their inability to understand, it doesn't make you wrong. It doesn't mean you need to slow down, dumb it down, shrink back to make them comfortable. It just means you're on a different path. Does this resonate with what you're experiencing? Comment below and let me know, because there's something else I need to tell you about this energy. The fact that people are talking, that you're generating this kind of attention, that you're creating confusion in people who thought they knew you, that's actually a sign that you're doing something right, a sign that you're no longer playing small, a sign that you're no longer fitting into the narrative that was comfortable for everyone else but limiting for you. When you start living authentically, when you start honoring your truth, when you start making choices from your center instead of from people pleasing, people notice. And not everyone is going to celebrate it. Some people are going to be confused. Some are going to be uncomfortable. Some are going to talk, analyze, try to make sense of why you're not the person they expected you to be. And all of that, it's just noise. It's not information about you. It's information about them. It's revealing who can handle your growth and who can't. It's showing you who's actually interested in knowing you and who was just comfortable with the version of you that served their needs. And that clarity, even though it might be uncomfortable, it's valuable because now you know. Now you can see clearly who's genuinely in your corner and who was just there as long as you stayed in your assigned role. Now you can make choices about where you invest your energy, who you share yourself with, who gets access to the real you. And that discernment, that's power, real power. Have you been gaining clarity about who your real people are through this process? Let me know in the comments. Because what I keep sensing is this moment is refining your circle. It's showing you who stays when you evolve and who falls away when you stop performing. It's revealing who celebrates your growth and who resents it. It's clarifying who deserves your trust and who was only comfortable with a limited version of you. And as uncomfortable as that process might be, it's necessary. Because you can't build a real life, real connections, real alignment with people who only want the edited version of you. You can't create genuine intimacy with people who are more comfortable with your mask than your face. You can't move forward authentically while trying to maintain relationships that require you to stay the same. So let them talk. Let them try to figure you out. Let them have their conversations, their theories, their confusion. None of it changes who you are. None of it affects your path. None of it diminishes your growth. You're not here to be understood by everyone. You're here to be true to yourself. And the people who can't figure that out, they're revealing themselves. They're showing you that they were never really seeing you anyway. They were seeing a projection, a role, a version of you that made sense to them. But you're not a projection anymore. You're not a role anymore. You're just you. Unfiltered, unperformed, unapologetic. And if that's too complex for some people to understand, that's their limitation, not yours. And here's what I want you to really hear. This phase you're in, this period where people are talking, analyzing, trying to make sense of you, it's temporary. It won't always feel this intense. It won't always generate this much attention. Eventually, people will move on to the next thing. Eventually, the novelty of your transformation will wear off for them. Eventually, they'll stop trying to figure you out and just accept that you've changed, or they won't. Either way, it stops mattering. Because by the time this phase passes, you'll be so grounded in who you are that their opinions won't even register the way they do now. You'll be so clear about your path that external confusion won't create internal doubt. You'll be so confident in your choices that you won't need validation from people who never really knew you anyway. And that's the gift of this moment. Not the discomfort, not the conversations, not the confusion, but the strengthening that's happening inside you as you navigate it. Every time you choose not to explain yourself to someone who isn't genuinely asking, you get stronger. Every time you let people be confused instead of contorting yourself to make them comfortable, you get clearer. Every time you honor your boundaries, even when it creates tension, you get more aligned. And those small moments of choosing yourself, they compound. They build into something solid, something unshakable, something that can't be destabilized by other people's opinions or confusion or attempts to categorize you. Does this feel true for you? Drop a comment and let me know what's shifting. Because what I keep seeing is you're building something, something internal, something real, something that belongs to you and can't be taken away. You're building trust in yourself. You're building confidence in your choices. You're building a foundation that doesn't require external validation to stand. And the people who are talking, who are confused, who can't figure you out, they're not part of that foundation. They're just watching from the outside. And you don't need to bring them in. You don't need to make them understand. You don't need to justify your evolution to people who aren't even on the journey with you. You just need to keep building. Keep choosing yourself. Keep honoring your truth. Keep moving in the direction that feels aligned, even if it doesn't make sense to anyone else. Because this is your life, your path, your growth, your transformation. And it doesn't need to make sense to anyone but you. So let them talk. Let them wonder. Let them try to figure out what happened to the version of you they thought they knew. That version is gone. And this version, the real you, the authentic you, the you that's no longer performing, this version doesn't need to be understood by people who weren't paying attention in the first place. This version just needs to be honored by you. And you're doing that every day, every choice, every boundary. You're honoring yourself, and that's everything. So keep going. Keep being the person they can't figure out. Keep being the person who doesn't fit in their boxes. Keep being the person who evolves, grows, changes without asking for permission or approval. Because that person, that's who you actually are. And the people who can't see that clearly, they don't deserve front row seats to your transformation anyway. I don't sell futures, I build architects. No predictions, just the raw truth for the tough ones. Stay magic, stay in the now.